September 13th, 2021, Midwest City, Dell City Public Schools. Board meeting is on call to order. Mr. Biggers, we'll have our roll call. Mr. Biggers?
Here.
Mr. Porter?
Here.
Dr. Daniel?
Here.
Dr. Kirk?
Yeah.
And the chair is here. I'd like to have Charlie and Emma 12s come up and join me, please. We're going to have to make room for two. And no, you're not seeing double. We have these two young ladies who are from Barnes Elementary. And could y'all tell us, could you introduce yourselves, since I don't know you well enough to introduce you by name?
I'm Emmy. I'm Charlie.
Okay, can you tell us who you brought with you, please?
Miss McNeely and my mom.
Okay,
David and Miss Thomas.
all right, very good. And as I say, these two young ladies are from Barnes. Each of them are 7 years old. Charlie is in the 2nd grade in Miss Sandra Thomas's class, and she likes, correct me if I'm wrong, soccer, hip-hop dance, handstand competitions, generational dolls, and taekwondo. What do you like best about school?
Gym, music, and all the fun stuff my teacher plans.
All right, very good. All right. Emmy, what about you?
I like to do math and gym and music.
All right, very good. Now, I would also like to tell you that Emmy loves gymnastics, competing with her sister in handstand competitions, fidgets, and taekwondo. I want to know who wins the handstand competitions.
Only Charlie. I will agree with that.
And I understand you have an older brother.
Yes.
And what is his name?
Kistler.
And where is he go to school?
Mid-Dow School. Carlisle, Bert. It's Carlisle. It's Carlisle.
And y'all kind of like him, right?
I love him. He's kind of annoying.
And as you can see, they are mirror image, identical twins. They are going to lead us in our Pledge of Allegiance. Would you please stand? Okay, ladies.
I salute the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Very good. Well done.
It's my brother. He's
Okay. We have one of these for each of you. Here we go.
Oh, that's his Charlie Troll.
Oh, you're right. And there's that. Thank you, ladies, very much for coming and joining us.
Good
You
job.
did a great job. Okay. It is so nice to have children back in here. That's right. Consent agenda items A through G are listed in the agenda. Does any board member have anything they want to pull out?
Move to approve.
Then we'll move to approve.
Second.
And a second. Thank you very much, Mr. Porter,
Aye.
Dr. Daniel,
Aye.
Dr. Kirk,
Aye.
Mr. Biggers,
Aye.
and the chair votes aye. Item 3A, public participation. The board encourages members of the public to bring forward any suggestions for the improvement of the school system. Board members and the superintendent cannot, by law, respond to questions or comments from members of the public during a board meeting. The board will not vote on matters brought forward by the public if those matters do not relate to specific agenda items. Persons who address the board during public participation must state their name and address and follow these guidelines. Number one, not use the public participation portion of the board meeting to make slanderous, abusive, and personal statements against any individual. The board president may rule any speaker out of order who makes such statements. Number 2, not speak regarding litigation pending against the district or employees of the district. Number 3, not speak regarding a matter that is currently the subject of an investigation being conducted by the district or its agents or attorneys, or which is the subject of an ongoing criminal investigation. Number 4, in order for the board to fulfill its obligation to complete the planned agenda in an effective and efficient fashion, a single participation period of 30 minutes will be permitted at each meeting. Each person who wishes to speak will be allotted 5 minutes until the total time of 30 minutes is used. Groups consisting of 3 or more persons may designate a spokesperson that will be given 5 minutes to speak for and represent the group. In an effort to keep the public speaking portion times, we've added a timer on the screen behind the board for our speakers to monitor while speaking. When the 5-minute period has ended, we will ask the speaker to stop addressing the board, and thank you for coming. So Lydia Miller is the first one, our first name on our list.
Hello, Mr. Cobb and esteemed board members. Thank you for allowing me to speak. I'm going to read this so I don't chase rabbits, okay? I would like to propose an effective and long-term solution to combat the root cause of COVID-19 in our school buildings. We know that COVID-19 is not going away. This is something we must learn to live with and work around. But there is a way which will allow our children and teachers to breathe easier, and have less missed school days because of sickness. You may have heard of it because more public schools implemented it last fall. I also understand that Tony, the facility managers from Middale Public Schools, met with a GPS representative about installing this filtration system. I would like for the Middale school system to strongly consider installing the Global Plasma Solutions bipolar ionization filtration system like more public schools. I reached out to the Moore Public Schools and spoke with Jeff Horn, who headed up this project for cleaner air. I've also spoken with John Fillmore, who sells and installs the polarized ionization filtration box that Moore Public Schools used. I've made a packet of information about this filtration system, which I'll give to you guys after I'm done speaking here. Moore Public Schools spent about $1.6 million to install this bipolar ionization filtration boxes on all their AC units on their 35 campuses. They used the federal money designated for COVID relief to pay for this, and also applied for FEMA refunds, which are being processed now. It would cost Middale school systems less than $1.6 million because we only have 21 campuses compared to Moore's 35. Moore Public Schools states they have seen a difference in the number of sick days missed because of this clean air system. They were the only school in the Oklahoma school system last year who did not shut down. This system not only attacks and kills the COVID virus particles, but it will kill flu, strep, other viruses and bacteria, allergens, mold, and will help with odors in our buildings. Each unit costs $600 plus the cost of installation. These small metal boxes are placed on each AC unit. It is very simple to install. After installation, there is no maintenance. There is no filter that needs to be changed every few months. The unit keeps the equipment cleaner and makes it run more effectively. I would also like to note other hospitals, universities, large buildings, and businesses who have installed this bipolar ionization unit. The Mayo Clinic, Boston Children's Hospital, St. Louis University Hospital, Houston Memorial Hospital, Baylor UMC, the White House, the UAE Presidential Palace, Google, Amelia Arena, Harvard University, and Clemson University, just to name drop a few. If this is good enough for the White House, I think it's good enough for our children, don't you? I would like for the Middale School Board to put it on their agenda to discuss and install these ionized units and pay for them using a part of the federal monies, $28 million given to the Middale school system. It took Moore Public Schools 4 months to install the units, and they were finished by October 2020. I think it is possible for Middale to have all these units installed by the end of this year, 2021. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. And
I was asked by Lydia to join her today to speak about bipolarization and what it is and how it works. So bipolarization has been around for years and years. It was originally invented. They sold meat at the market. Meat get mold and it turned brown. So a guy invented bipolarization to keep the meat red longer, so it was fresh longer. We've used it since 2009 in Oklahoma City, primarily in hospitals to keep mold off of coils in the airstream. COVID hit, and it kind of changed the game of bipolarization. So what bipolar ionization is bi meaning two, polar meaning polarity, positive and negative. Ionization means it makes ions. So what these ions do is a few different things. One, the hot button right now is pathogens, COVID in particular, SARS-CoV-2. So we've tested this with all different types of pathogens, staph, MRSA, tuberculosis, and as of May last year, we tested it with SARS-CoV-2, the virus that is going around. And a Tier 3 lab in California tested it in an aircraft fuselage scenario. So the U.S. Air Force, CEO of the company is a former Air Force pilot, so he has a contract with the U.S. Air Force. The Air Force came to him and said, hey, does this kill COVID? He said, I don't know, I can't get in to test it because everybody's working on something that will kill it. So they put it in this lab. In 30 minutes, it killed 99.4% of the virus that they put in this lab. They put it in a petri dish. They've also simulated it in the airborne test as well, and same thing. About 30 minutes, it killed 99.9%. So pathogens is one thing it does. Two, I mentioned it earlier, mold. It kills mold the same way it kills a pathogen. It attaches to mold, pulls the hydrogen molecule out of the mold that it needs to reproduce, so it can't reproduce and you don't grow mold. So mold is the second thing it does. Third thing it does is airborne particulates. In the air, in this conference room, if I were to measure how many small particulates were in the air, you'd see in 1 cubic foot you have about 2 million airborne particulates that you're breathing. Casinos, of course, a lot higher. Read it in a casino, and it was 16 million, so that's your air quality in a casino. But what it does for airborne pathogens is anything smaller than half a micron, which is small. A grain of sand is about 100 microns. So anything smaller than half a micron stays suspended in the space. Your supply grills blow air across it, and it doesn't have enough mass to move it, so the air just goes around it and it stays suspended, which is why the COVID virus, which is less than 0.1 microns, it just stays suspended in the air. So if somebody walks into space, they're talking, it stays in the space, somebody else comes in, it doesn't get back to the filter to filter out, it stays airborne. So what these ions do is they attach to these particulates that are smaller than 0.5 microns, some positive, some negative, and they charge them. They're attracted to each other, positive attracts to negative, so 2.3 micron particulates become 0.6 microns, so now it has enough mass that air can move it and you can filter it out or it falls to the floor. So it reduces the number of airborne particulates you have in your space, is another thing it does. She mentioned the particular product I work with, GPS, bipolarization. Moore Public Schools, it's my alma mater. My kids go to Moore. It's the first place I went to, told them about it. Just took all the testing. I took them all the mold tests, the airborne particulate test, and Jeffrey Horn, who she referred to. They put them on every school in the district. They wanted to start with elementary schools and then move their way up just from financial reasons. Sat and talked to them and they decided high school is probably the better place to start if you're going to start somewhere, because your older kids are more susceptible to get it, and they're out hanging out with each other after school hours more anyway. So start at your high schools, and they had a parent that said, hey, my son has it at their school, my daughter doesn't have it at their school, why not? So they put them on the whole district. Oklahoma City Public Schools has put it on every unit in their district. Bethany, Putnam City have also put them in every unit in their district. Fairly new technology as far as people talking about it with viruses, just because of COVID. I mean, COVID has changed what we do with it completely. But that's about my time, what I can do in 5 minutes. So thanks.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Okay. Item number B. Oh, thank you. I'm sorry. I forgot that you were going to bring those up. Thank you. I shall. Thank you. Here. Well, as we're passing those out, Dr. Cobb, you want to get ready for your report? Sure.
Very brief superintendent's report today. Cal Ripken Senior Foundation and Devon Energy had a ceremony to unveil the STEM Lab grant for Pleasant Hill Elementary. Dr. Daniel and Dr. Kirk were able to attend that along with me. Tim Dewood wrote that grant to bring all of that work in, and we got to witness the students there working with the STEM labs there at Pleasant Hill. A couple of weeks ago at the OSSBA conference, we had representatives from each of our 3 high schools who spoke on the Voices of Equity panel, discussed what schools like, what they hope it will be like in the future, and explain why cultural understanding and representation matter to them. Cecilia Robinson Wood, the Millwood superintendent, put the panel together and asked me if we had some students who would be happy to be on it. There were 9 students, I think, in all, and I think our students did a fantastic job of representing our high schools and the district. News 9 did a teacher spotlight on Melissa Ritchie, who is a science teacher at Dell City High School. We have participated in recent job fairs and community events to do a lot of job recruiting. We have quite a bit of recruiting, or quite a few openings right now in the district as our enrollment has rebounded. We've also had to add some more teaching staff. We did have, last month, we had our first meeting with our new SAB group. Last year we did not have new students for my advisory board. We just went with the 12 seniors that we had, and this year we did interviews. Over 70 students applied for SAB, and Dr. Broyles and Stacey Boyer and I interviewed those students, and couldn't limit it to the 24 that we usually did have, so we went with 30. And 10 from each high school. Fantastic group of students. We've had our first day of school and quite a few days of school since our last board meeting. These are just some of the representative pictures from the first day. We also had several interviews on the opening of the school year. On the left is I'm with David Loads. I think it's 6 in the morning on the first day of school at Minnesota City Elementary. Just want to point out again, I think we've mentioned this several times on social media and otherwise, that our wellness clinic is open 3 days a week, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at the Learning Services Center, which was formerly Delcrest. And we have reciprocal services at the wellness clinic in Choctaw. So you can get tested for COVID, flu, and strep, and select vaccinations there as well. So I think that is my report.
Okay. Very good. Item number C, 2019 District College Remediation Report. Dr. Broyles.
Good evening, President Nolan, members of the board, and Dr. Cobb. The Oklahoma State Regents for Higher Education released the 2019 Oklahoma College Remediation Rate Report in February of 2021. The metric applied to determine if a student would be required to take a developmental course in college was to score below a 19 on the ACT subtest for science, English, math, and reading. During the fall of 2019, 406 Mid-Dell graduates of the 2019 senior class were reported as college freshmen to the Oklahoma State Regents for Higher Education. These numbers reflect only Oklahoma colleges that reported their remediation data to the Oklahoma Regents for Higher Education. From this group of students, an average of 0% of Mid-Dell 2019 graduates were remediated in science, 29% were remediated in English, 39.11% were remediated in math, and 1.4% were remediated in reading. We are far below the state average of 4.1% for remediation in the area of reading, and all of the high schools have made gains in at least one area of the report over the past 4 years. Some other factors to be considered: not all Mid-Dell high school graduates that attend college are represented in this report. This report only reflects in-state universities, and we have numerous students that attend out-of-state institutions. Do you have any questions?
I can go ahead. First of all, I think for the remediation as a kudo to us, and also for parents, because they save money. You know, no college credit, you know, if you have to pay for remediation. But I would like to know, based upon the college career readiness math that's offered, I think it started about 3-4 years ago. It's like a 4th-year math elective. How many of my kiddos who have enrolled in that, or do we offer that?
We do still offer it, but as you remember, back in 2016, 2017, Middale decided to take out the fourth year requirement and only go with the 3 years that was required by the state of Oklahoma. And so students are not required to take the fourth year of math, but they are encouraged to take the fourth year.
See, and I think as I look at data points too, I'm thinking nine, those who remediated. You certainly look at those who have to be for their schools you just mentioned. Those who certainly need to be, and then how many of them absolutely complete that? And I wonder how many of those drop out, never complete that whole remediation process. Of course, we don't have that data, but the state doesn't provide it.
It does not.
But I would love to get that data points to what's going on with those kiddos. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah, any other questions? Very good. This is not an action item. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, dear. Good report.
Mr. Mendenhall, Middale Technology Center report, please, sir.
Thank you.
You start clicking away.
Start clicking. All right, thanks, guys. I just kind of want to just talk about a little bit about our marketing efforts and provide a little bit of data and information on things that are happening in our marketing areas, and then also to lead into some things we're doing with some marketing companies that we may be coming back to you and talk about branding and how to make sure that we have a constant and consistent imprint in our district as it relates to our services that we provide and the training that we can do. So here's our 4 areas that we focus on in marketing and communities, meaning that we engage with the Greater Oklahoma City Chamber, the South Oklahoma City Chamber, and of course our local chambers, Midwest City and Dale City Chamber as well. I know Dr. Cobb and I are both on the boards for Midwest City Chamber. I'm also on president next year of the Dale City Economic Development Committee as well. So we're heavily involved in all those things. I think we have at the Tech Center 8 to 10 people that are assigned to the different chambers of the ones I just mentioned. And so it's critical and important that we're involved in that. And then participation, I'm going to talk about the things that we've been participating in as it relates to the chamber and other events, such as the one Dr. Cobb already mentioned, some career fair things with the city and that type of thing. And then education, and the part is that anytime we can get people into our buildings and we can educate them and our public on the things that we do as it relates to training or upskilling in our evening programs or in our full-time programs, then that's always a plus. And so we try to get as many people into our building as we possibly can, because it always gives us a chance to tell our story to as many people and in front of as many people as we possibly can. And then everybody, I think, knows that social media is the way of the future, and so we certainly want to be a constant and place and make sure that we're very diligent about being a part of social media, because that's how people are getting their information these days. So those are our 4 areas that we focus on, and so I hope I can show some representation of that as we move forward. This was the hiring event by the City of Midwest City that we had our booth. You can see over on the right-hand side, we probably could use some, we need some updates, some of our booth material there, but we were there. We also it didn't make the slide, but we also participated in one for the Greater Oklahoma City as well in the hospitality industry. It was held at Moore Norman Technology Center, but we certainly were representative as there, along with Francis Tuttle and Canadian Valley, Metro Tech, and the 5 tech centers as part of the metro area that did some of the same thing that you see as part of this hiring event, because the Greater Oklahoma City Chamber had the same issues, that they're having a really hard time in the hospitality and food service industry about getting quality help and getting any help for that matter. So that's the example of the things that we were involved in. We were involved in Tinker and the Primes as well. So you can see we were a lanyard sponsor this year. Next year we have a booth. And so we'll upgrade and have a booth as well as part of that. And so anytime that we can be have more of an impression, more of an imprint in Tinker and the Primes, we're certainly going to do that. It's a great opportunity for us. It's a great opportunity for the Chamber. They've done a great job over the last 20 years putting that together, and it keeps growing and growing and growing. And they've outgrown their space really at the Reed Center, and so hopefully we can keep doing those things. And as you can see, the governor was there. The Secretary of the Air Force was part of that. The generals from Tinker Air Force Base. So it was a really good event. They do a great job of organizing that event and getting the aerospace industry here, and that's only going to grow as you guys know. So that's another thing we did. And that's about I think that was a 3-day event. Sunrise Social. Certainly the board would like to invite you guys on Thursday, September 23rd. That's at our Business Development Training Center. And so that we're part of the chamber as well. We'll schedule one once our campus is completed on the main campus. We'll schedule another one at our main campus, but we're having a hard time finishing that project just because of supplies and stuff that haven't got things done as quickly as we have liked it to So, and then we're again involved with the chamber to a great degree. And September 30th looks like there's a deal. Unfortunately, I won't be here for that, but we engage in all those things as well. Student recognition, so you'll see that as part of the Beacon. We have a place in the Beacon to advertise on a consistent basis, and this is a good recognition of our students. And anytime we can do that, it's a good thing, and we want to do that as much as we possibly can. Our Student of the Month, Adult Student of the Month, those types of things. So we appreciate the Beacon putting those things in there, and we get an opportunity to recognize our students is always a really good thing. Here's some of our renovations. We're getting close, so I don't know if the pictures really, wish I had just a little bit better pictures. On the one on the left, top left, that's our conference room. That would be conference room A right now. And so all the carpet's in, our petitions are in, our IT is lagging behind just a little bit on some mill work that it takes to finish that up, and have been having trouble with our vendor from out of Tulsa to get those things finished up. So we're about just a couple items really from being done with all of that. So hopefully when we get all that completed, we can have the board out and show you guys what you purchased. Down the bottom is our strategy room there, and just the type of things that we're doing to focus and highlight what we're about, and that's really just for teachers and our staff to go in and do planning with, and so we kind of held that to them. And then this is the teacher workroom. It's a new teacher workroom. The one I'm moving to the right, down bottom right, is a new teacher workroom in there, and we moved there so that they have a more appropriate place. And so that's almost done. We have some furniture that we still are lacking in there, but hopefully, and that one's almost done. So that's getting close. And then on the right is our entryway. You'd be looking from the conference rooms out the south doors. Over on the right-hand side, that's a video wall. There'll be a 9 TV 3x3 process there, and they'll have one message, and you can message out, and it's going to look really nice once we get all that completed. But that's the area that seems to lagging behind right now, is getting technology, and all of that is all back ordered, but they're working really hard, and I appreciate CMS. It's really not them, it's their vendors under them that are having trouble getting materials in to produce the product. So that's part of the millwork you see on the right-hand side there. This is just some website stuff. We'll keep tracking the information we have on our website. Where do our clients, where is our public going to our website? And this comes from Google Analytics. And so we pay a lot of attention to this because we want to know where our clients have the most interest in it. And this was from 2020. This is from the last 3 months, May, June, and July is this time right here. And on the next slide, I'll just show how many people have came to our website. And so you can see here the adult mailer is the same mailer we send and mail out, but we also have an electronic version on our website that you can flip through electronically as part of that. Our catalog includes everything that we offer, full-time programs, adult training, all of that. But our adult mailer is just our ACD classes we offer at night. So there's a great amount of interest in, as you can see in the last two, and that's considerably up. Our adult mailer last year had less than 10%. And so there seems to be some interest there. So we're going to capitalize on that interest and see where we have. We'll go in there. And then our practical nursing, there was more interest last year. Now the enrollment ended in May. We had 80 applicants, which is more than we've ever had for 20 spots. So once that window closes, I'm not surprised by that low number, because May is when we ended the application date for that program. Here's some more metrics. This again comes from Google Analytics. So in those 3 months, we had 8,500 users, 8,000 new users that came to I'm going from left to right on the top. Those are new users. Sessions, how many times did they go to a particular website? How many page views did we have? So they go multiple pages. So if they get on our website and go to multiple pages, those are page views. If they go to 3 pages, then that's where that total number comes from. So if we have 16,000 users and then on the page views there's 54, then you know they're staying more than, they're not just clicking on and getting right back off from there. So our pages and sessions, their average session once they hit our web page is 2 minutes and 46 seconds. And bounce rate means how fast do they are they the percentage of people who come on our website and get automatically off. And so you want that bounce rate to be less than. You don't want a high bounce rate. You want a really low bounce rate. So our 34% is between that 26 and 40. And what we know is when people get to our website, they find it usable, they find it easy to negotiate, and they stay for whatever reason, and they seem to be finding the information they need or want there. And then you can see our session duration is 2 to 3 minutes, and I think our session duration is 1.5, 1 minute 50 seconds. Yes?
Is there any way to disaggregate your users, adult versus college students?
No, we would not be able to, because it doesn't track them by their email address or who that person might be. It tracks their interest, but it doesn't track who they are, and so we wouldn't be able to do that. You can track if they're by phone or by computer, if they're logging in by phone or computer, but you wouldn't be able to track who they are. Probably would violate some privacy somewhere in there, I guess. Yeah. So there's the deal. But what I was mentioning at the first is that we are concerned, or we want to make sure, maybe not concerned is the right word, to make sure that our branding is where it needs to be. And so we've asked 3 companies to come in and give us some to look at our webpage, to look at what they could do for us in the areas of branding and marketing. And so I may be coming back to you in the following months and bringing you a proposal for how we might be able to do this better than what we're doing it now. So there's some cost involved in all of that. So right now we've had 2 of the 3 companies make sessions for us.
Do you have a goal for your metrics, what you want to achieve with your website, to propose to the companies?
What I would like to know, and we ask enrollees, how did they find us, right? And if it's by website, we want that number to go up. What our largest answer is word of mouth, by word of mouth. That we feel like that's not a good enough answer. We want to really drill down and maybe not even offer that as an answer anymore, because I want to know who they are finding. Are they finding it from their parents? Are they finding, and how did that person find out? So I would like that to be the number one reason they come to our website, social media, some way other than word of mouth. But that continues to be our number one answer on enrollment in all of our programs, is word of mouth. So our goal is to make sure within industry standards on all of those things is our goal.
That shows that relationships are still the most important reason
Sure.
that people do things.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. And so when we are advertising in the paper and doing recognitions, there's a group that still, I read the newspaper every morning. And so that's just me, but there's a lot of people who do social media. I do that too as well, but probably, so you have to accommodate all platforms to get your word out. And that concludes my,
Very good.
thanks
Thank
guys.
you. Item number 4, vote to approve or not approve revision of Dell City High School's 2021-22 homecoming date to September the 23rd, 2021. Mr. Collier.
President Nolan, members of the board, Dr. Cobb, I come tonight asking for approval to change our game from September 24th to September 23rd. The state of Oklahoma right now is struggling with officials, and we're short a few crews. I think that you could see in the Oklahoma City area a lot of Friday night games eventually throughout the year moving to Thursday just so officiating crews can double up.
Move to approve.
Second.
Thank you. Any questions for Mr. Collier? Then we will call the vote. Dr. Kirk?
Aye.
Mr. Biggers?
Aye.
Mr. Porter?
Aye.
Dr. Daniel?
Aye.
And the chair votes aye. Thank you. Item number 5, vote to approve or not approve the 2021-22 estimate of needs of the financial statement of fiscal year 2020-21 for the sinking fund. Ms. Metcalf?
Yes, President Nolan, members of the board, and Dr. Cobb, this is our estimate of need that we come to you at this time every year and present for your approval. I will just be here to answer any questions you might have. Otherwise, I would ask for your approval.
Move to approve.
Second.
Okay, any questions? This is required by law. Okay, very good. All right, Mr. Porter?
Aye.
Dr. Daniel?
Aye.
Dr. Kirk?
Aye.
Mr. Biggers?
Aye.
And the chair votes aye. Thank you,
Thank you.
ma'am. And item number 6, Ms. Metcalf, vote to approve or not approve a contract for Middle
Sorry.
Public Schools Child Nutrition to provide food services to Carl Albert High School athletics for 2021-22.
Yes, we are, athletics has asked for us to do basically some peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. And so they are doing a contract with the athletics department so that they have that to eat. Prior, I would ask for your approval on that.
Move to approve.
Second.
Okay, any questions?
So is this related to any particular, is this for the entire school? Or
It's for football at this point in time.
Was this for the pregame meals and stuff?
It's, well, yes.
What happened to the church?
Pardon me a moment, and I'm gonna have,
Get the church.
Miss Denise join me.
What they're doing is protein loading the boys on Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday after practice. So this is not the pregame meal. This is just to ensure that they have enough protein to prepare for that game. And they were purchasing them previously from Walmart or Sam's, so they reached out to us to keep it within the school district.
Okay.
Are the other schools have something?
Right?
Are the other schools have something similar to this?
No, this is the first time anyone has reached out to me for that type of assistance, and we would be glad to assist anyone else with that.
Ms. Collier here.
Is this through
Maybe
Coach
just
Dunn?
left it-
Is this Coach Dunn's idea?
Yes. We would like to see it grow.
Consider for the others. Great.
Okay, I'm gonna call the vote. Dr. Daniel?
Aye.
Dr. Kirk?
Aye.
Mr. Biggers?
Aye.
Mr. Porter?
Aye.
And the chair votes aye.
Thank you.
Ms. Seibert? Item number 7, vote to approve or not approve the contract between Mid-Dell Public Schools and Crutcho Public Schools for IEP service agreements for transfer students attending Mid-Dell for 2021-22.
Any questions?
Is this well, can you tell us a little bit about the contract?
Yes, so it was a parent request. Last year I honored it. This year the student is enrolled in Crutcho. They get the child count money and we get the attendance money.
Can I have a motion to approve,
Move to
please?
approve.
Second.
All right, any questions? All right, Mr. Biggers? Mr. Porter.
Aye.
Dr. Daniel.
Aye.
Dr. Kirk.
Aye.
And the chair votes aye.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Vote to approve or not approve, Dr. Eric, the career and technology education programs at our 3 Middle high schools for fiscal year 2021-22.
Yeah, President Nolan, members of the board, Dr. Cobb, this is a yearly thing that we do to update the use of our project funding codes for these sites. I do want to add that it shows in here for Del City Middle School and Carl Albert Middle School for STEM programs. We have one of those at Midwest City Middle School. To receive funding through the Career Tech, you apply for those grants to get that, and they are not as flush with cash as we might hope. So she is doing some of those things, and we're supporting her classroom through Carl Perkins grant that we have as well. So that it does exist at all of our schools equally. It's just that it's a new program that started last year and during the pandemic. So Cheryl Thompson's been a fantastic partner. We've been meeting with them along the way to get that going as well.
So we're growing it.
Absolutely.
Okay. Also with the agriculture, the family consumer science and marketing, but it's just one school offers agriculture.
Yes. Just
Two
Carl
for
Albert.
marketing, or is it one?
Just one for marketing.
One marketing.
Yep.
Then just one, and they all have family consumer science.
Yes. So what we have you'll notice in those sites that we all have family consumer science programs in high school. Different, multiple ones.
And the agriculture's a full year.
Yes, it's
They go through the summer and program as well?
They do different things through the summer. They do I would be remiss to say, I think Ms. Goggins is back there if I said they did a plant sale. They do a plant sale, which is a wonderful way to support the ag program. But yeah, it's a traditional, it's a curriculum through Career Tech.
They have a phenomenal metal work program also.
Yeah.
Phenomenal.
May I have a motion, please?
Our Project Lead the Way and Gateway to Technology, are they national programs or are they local?
They're national programs, yes.
Yeah.
Move to approve.
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Porter.
Aye.
Dr. Daniel.
Aye.
Dr. Kirk.
Aye.
Mr. Biggers.
Aye.
And the chair votes aye. Dr. Eric, item number 9, vote to approve or not approve purchase of 225 registrations for the PLC at Work Institute from Solution Tree.
Yeah, President Nolan, members of the board, this is continuing through our development for professional learning communities, which helps the collaborative nature of our teachers and those practices. This summer we hosted a virtual training that we did at Midwest City High School. Was a great host. We did an elementary and a secondary and did that virtually. They're offering it in person, and so we want to send a large number of teachers. We sent 186 teachers and administrators last summer. We want to continue to grow that as we develop that program.
Okay, any questions?
How long we've had PLC for we've had it for a number of years now. Is that not true?
We have had it for a number of years, Dr. Kirk. It went through some years where it wasn't necessarily as much a focus as it has become recently. So
it's
we've really tried to,
revitalizing itself.
yeah, we've tried to, well, for us more getting it back in practice and reestablishing some of those things as we go forward.
Okay. Okay.
Can I have a motion, please, before any other questions?
Move to approve.
Second.
Okay, any other questions on this? Okay, it's nice that it's here in Edmond,
Yeah, it is nice.
that it's local.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, Mr. Porter,
Aye.
Dr. Daniel.
Aye.
Dr. Kirk.
Aye.
Mr. Biggers.
Aye.
And the chair votes aye. Item number 10, vote to approve or not approve purchase of decodable readers, books from Flyleaf Publishing.
Yeah, so this is actually a very exciting thing that we are able to use some of our ESSER 3 funds, that American Rescue Plan funding, and in that there's a 20% portion that we use for learning loss. Well, these decodable readers are something we've wanted to have for our classrooms, so we're buying sets for, you'll see in there, 270 classrooms for elementary for the early childhood students to have more when they're learning that, phonemic awareness and those things they're going through. They're able to actually start decoding the words and the sounds that go with that to help build those literacy skills. So we're really excited to be able to provide teachers with those additional resources.
All right, any questions? No, let's have the motion first, I'm sorry.
Move to approve.
Second.
All right, now any questions? Mr. Biggers?
Aye.
Mr. Porter?
Aye.
Dr. Daniel?
Aye.
Dr. Kirk?
Aye.
And the chair votes aye. Item number 11, vote to approve or not approve purchase of multi-touch displays and stand from Troxel Communications.
Yeah, so this is actually a continuation of what we've done. So when we merged the middle schools and redid those, we implemented new boards. So you're probably familiar with maybe a smart board. These are interactive touch displays that are television sets like built for that, multi-touch, and they're very durable as well. And so we've put those in all of our middle schools. I believe one of the agenda items tonight is proposed to put those in our high schools, and we're working to build out elementaries. So these school sites right now as we work on a plan for elementary, are using their Title I allocation funds from the district to continue to add technology on their own. And if you'll remember, this past school year, we actually outfitted 4 of our elementary schools with new line boards. So we're just trying to get to that point where all of our schools have the same technology.
Motion, please.
Vote to approve.
All right, any other questions?
So these like to see an in-touch screen?
Yeah. I think they're nicer than those, but yeah.
Okay. Mr. Porter?
Aye.
Dr. Daniel?
Aye.
Dr. Kirk?
Aye.
Mr. Biggers?
Aye.
And the chair votes aye. Dr. Eric, item number 12, vote to approve or not approve purchase of Wilson Language Foundations?
Yes, it's foundations.
Okay.
Yeah. So this is it's a prevention program that works in our basically what we call Tier 1, our first instruction that happens with students, and it helps reduce reading and spelling struggles. Again, it addresses that phonemic awareness, fluency, reading fluency, handwriting, spelling, vocabulary, and so we are adding this through our Title I program at these sites listed below, and we're kind of slowly implementing these things as sites feel they have the bandwidth to add these resources, because it does come with some additional training as part of it, but it's a really excellent program.
Motion to approve, please.
Move to approve.
Did I get a second?
Second.
Thank you. Any questions? Dr. Daniel?
Aye.
Dr. Kirk?
Aye.
Mr. Biggers? Mr. Porter? And the chair votes aye. Item number 13, Dr. Hazelwood, vote to approve or not approve purchase of new line boards and stands from Troxel Communications for our 3 high schools.
President Nolan, members of the board, Dr. Cobb. Do you have, these are just new line boards that just pretty much everything Dr. Eric just said.
Okay.
It's the same stuff.
Need a motion to approve, please.
To approve.
Second.
Thank you. Mr. Biggers?
Aye.
Mr. Porter?
Aye.
Dr. Daniel?
Aye.
Dr. Kirk?
Aye.
And the chair votes aye.
Thank you.
Dr. Hazelwood? Where are our
yes, ma'am.
chargers?
Where are the what?
The chargers for the,
Oh Lord, I hope they landed today.
oh, God.
They're supposed to.
Were they supposed to land today?
Yes. So if everything went correctly, we should have them today. But they should all be here this week for shoresies.
Yeah, very good.
I'm so excited. Like I can't wait for them to get here. I cannot wait.
All right,
So.
thank you.
Yes, sir.
Question about what we just voted on.
Oh yeah.
Are these back ordered, or are we in good shape where those are going to be delivered in a timely manner?
A timely manner. As of right now, so when we put all these quotes together, we were about 6 weeks out on being able to have these devices delivered. So unless now, that was a week and some change ago, so things could change. But at that particular time, we were about 6 to 8 weeks from delivery.
Semester, or 9 weeks.
9 weeks ish. Ish. Yeah. Any other questions? All right. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Mr. Mendenhall, back again for item number 14, vote to approve or not approve purchase of a 2022 Chevrolet Suburban from Vance Chevrolet.
Yes, this is the request to purchase an additional vehicle for the tech center. This is state contractor pricing, and so as part of that vetted out process, we have a 2015 vehicle that's about 85,000 miles on it. The one before that's 2007. It's got a lot more miles on it, and the one before that's a 2001, and it has a lot of miles on it. So we're trying to stay consistent and keep our vehicles in good running order, and allow our students and teachers to go out of town as they need to, and reliable vehicles.
Okay, motion please.
Move to approve.
Second.
Thank you. Mr. Porter?
Aye.
Dr. Daniel?
Aye.
Dr. Kirk?
Aye.
Mr. Biggers?
Aye.
And the chair votes aye. Thank you, sir. Mr. Bryan, item number 15, vote to approve or not approve Haynes Pump and Process for the procurement of 2 lift pumping station replacements.
President Nolan, members of the board, Dr. Cobb. These 2 units are basically lift station pumps that pump groundwater to a detention area from Oklahoma School. One of them been in service since 1974. The other one's been in service since 1990. Both are failing. The 1974 unit, we're having to service that basically our own to keep it. So it would be my recommendation that we replace them both at this time. That's for vote approval.
Move to approve.
Second.
Will this be self-installed? Will we just install
It
them
will
or?
not. It'll be an install for us.
Okay, Dr. Kirk,
Aye.
Mr. Biggers,
Aye.
Mr. Porter,
Aye.
Dr. Daniel,
Aye.
and the chair votes aye. Thank you, sir. Okay. Oh, are you going to be Mr. Conseco again?
I am.
As well?
Mr. Conseco was called out of state.
Vote to approve or not approve York Electronic Systems, Inc. for emergency procurement of a new intercom equipment package, including installation.
Thank you again. This is for Parkview Elementary, and it is the head unit for our intercom. Our fire notification system is tied into this, and emergency notified situations as well. So at present, it is completely out, and we declared this an emergency, and we would ask for your vote to approve
This is
that.
Parkview?
Yes, ma'am, it
Okay,
is.
this is Parkview. Okay, all righty.
Move to approve.
Second.
Thank you, Dr. Kirk.
Aye.
Mr. Biggers.
Aye.
Mr. Porter.
Aye.
Dr. Daniel.
Aye.
And the chair votes aye.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Ms. Houston, vote to approve or not approve all actions recommended in the human resources reports. Are we fully staffed?
President
We're
Nolan.
working on it.
Yes, members of the board and Dr. Cobb, we are still about 10 short as certified staff members, but most of those are additions that we've added due to enrollment, which is a good problem to have. And many of them are, currently we're at about 5 elementary and 5 secondary. Most of the secondary are due to growth. We've had a couple of recent resignations at the elementary level.
Okay, very good. Motion to
Move to approve item A.
Second?
Second.
Thank you. Any questions? Dr. Kirk?
Aye.
Mr. Biggers?
Aye.
Mr. Porter?
Aye.
Dr. Daniel?
Aye.
And the chair votes aye. Vote to 17B, vote to approve or not approve request for deregulation for media, for library media services for fiscal year 2021-22.
Move to approve.
Second.
Okay,
Is
this
this
is just
for the
standard,
whole
isn't it?
district?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Is this for the whole district?
It impacts, I believe, 3 of the elementary schools. They're just a little bit of a cusp of enrollment with what the state requires compared to what we have. So, for example, maybe we don't have a halftime media assistant at a site. We're doing creative scheduling. Teachers are filling in. Maybe they're doing checkouts every other week instead of weekly. Some things along those lines.
So this is to get rid of this is to operate non-standard. Is that
Not necessarily non-standard, but just a few personnel, fewer.
fewer
what we
personnel than
normally
what's
have.
recommended?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
We feel like we have the capacity to still.
Yes, we can definitely handle what we have with our personnel.
Are these positions being advertised?
The media assistant position is, it's just hard to find someone has all of the qualifications.
And this will be in sync with the accreditation.
Yes, ma'am.
That's what we're
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, Dr. Daniel.
Aye.
Dr. Kirk.
Aye.
Mr. Biggers.
Aye.
Mr. Porter.
Aye.
And the chair votes aye. Item 17C, vote to approve or not approve request for deregulation for the planning period for 2021-22 for Sarah Moore, Dell City High School. Same thing.
Yes, ma'am. Ms. Moore is going to give up her plan time to be able to reach more of her English students. So we appreciate that.
Move to approve.
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you. Mr. Porter?
Aye.
Dr. Daniel?
Aye.
Dr. Kirk?
Aye.
Mr. Biggers?
Aye.
And the chair votes aye. And item 17B, D as in dog, vote to approve or not approve request for deregulation planning period for 2021-22 school year for Anna McElrath, Midwest City High School.
Yes, ma'am.
Same
She's
deal.
going to take on the virtual Spanish.
Move to approve.
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you. Mr. Biggers?
Aye.
Mr. Porter?
Aye.
Dr. Daniel?
Aye.
Dr. Kirk?
Aye.
And the chair votes aye. And 17E, vote to approve or not approve the revised 2021-22 pay rates. Ms. Houston?
Yes, ma'am. We are just requesting the permission to raise the rates for the Middale Technology Center, specifically the Tinker Technology Center, just raising the minimums up a little bit. The instructor beginning from 17 to 20 at the beginning rates, curriculum developer 17 to 20, admin facility tech from 14 to 18, and the materials handler coordinator from 15 to 20, and then doing away with the secretarial support.
Move to approve.
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you. We'll call the vote. Mr. Porter?
Aye.
Dr. Daniel?
Aye.
Dr. Kirk?
Aye.
Mr. Biggers?
Aye.
And the chair votes aye. Item number 18, new business. There is none. Item number 19, move to adjourn.
Move to adjourn.
Second.
Thank you. Dr. Daniel?
Aye.
Dr. Kirk?
Aye.
Mr. Biggers?
Aye.
Mr. Porter? And the chair votes aye.